And this is race 3, a heat of the Prince Albert, Nereus v University of California, Berkeley. Nereus on the left-hand side, and they're off. A great start here. These guys are coxed, so we should be seeing them going straight off the line, but hard, heavy boat and need to explode out the start on this gladiatorial racing, side-by-side racing. They'll be looking to get the advantage, and at the moment, it's the Dutch that look like they have gone ahead. Yeah, the Dutch crew, they contain a few of the under-23s for the Dutch squad and junior internationals. The Cal, we've got some very, very strong freshmen. They're coached by Mike Tatey, who was the famous coach of the US team for that Olympic victory back in Athens. So they'll have been training really, really hard for this, and they'll be used to racing. They do a lot of racing in their training. And you can see they're quite comfortable sitting where they are, and they're not going to let it go. Big guy there in the bow seat. He looks very, very, very strong. I believe it's Harry Kelly. He looks, he's not going to let him go. But Nereus, very smooth, very, very smooth. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. Taunton Nereus said, but after their race yesterday, they really did think that race against Newcastle University, it was a 3/4 of the length victory, but they felt it was much harder than they thought. They really were impressed the way that Newcastle University crew just kept coming all the way down the course, and they feel like that, you know, the University of California, you know, this is the first time we've seen them at this regatta. They got a bye, they're a selected crew, and we hadn't seen them, and they will have been making sure. The Dutch have said, do you know what, we could have been selected. Perhaps they're saying we should have been selected. This is what we can achieve. Yeah, absolutely. The Dutch will have more background racing in the fours. You tend to see the Americans race a lot more in 8s at the universities. So as we're passing the mile and a quarter there, it looks like Nereus have really opened up. I think it may be about 2-3 lengths there, Sarah. Yeah, absolutely. And let's look at this once again in the bucket rig. We've talked about that earlier in the day, but 2 athletes rowing on one side of their blade together. Sometimes that can keep the boat a little bit straighter. It can use the power in the middle of the boat in a slightly different way. And these Dutch, the Nereus crew from Holland, they really are using their power well. And looking at the other side, the University of California, they've come over having had a great season back at home, but they've been selected by the regatta, and they maybe didn't have the advantage of racing yesterday. And the Dutch, they've sharpened up after that tight race against Newcastle University, and they've come out here on Friday absolutely flying. Yes, sometimes it really helps having done a race the day before. You get the nerves out, you get the body ready, and almost like the engine warmed up, like you see in Formula One. Sometimes, you know, that first race really, really stings. But I think the big difference from this area is that the efficiency of what the Dutch are doing. They're the way that they're rowing the boat is just a bit smoother. The Americans look very, very strong, but they're taking fewer strokes a minute, and they're making it a bit heavy, a bit sluggish. And the Dutch are just moving loosely, nicely on top of the water. Yeah, absolutely. What we're looking at is 2 really different styles of rowing, and as long as the 4 people or the 8 people or the 2 people in the boat do the same thing, actually you can row in several different ways. But I love the way you described that. The Dutch, you can see it, there's a timing that they pick up the boat. Almost it's a silence as that blade goes in, just beautifully loose. You can see the relaxation in the athlete's hands, but the efficiency as they lift their hands up. You know, it's hurting them, but it looks easy. Absolutely. It may be a little bit more tired there as you get further down the track, and that's where all the training comes into part. You know, you train so that you can take the really good, effective, loose strokes when your body is sort of shutting down, when all the lactic is building up. But they're doing a great job. They're doing a really good job. Cal are still fighting. To be fair, they're fighting all the way back, and that's what Mike Tatey instills in his athletes. These guys will be very, very hard young men, training very, very hard out there in the bay in San Francisco. Yeah, that's right. Those Californians, those see on their fronts, they've got a pride about this and a pride about this performance, and they're driving their boat on. They're demanding as much as they possibly can of each other and of themselves. But at the moment, it's the Dutch. They've got the cheers. You can hear their supporters have turned up. There's no mistaking that roar that comes from the Dutch supporters, and they will be pleased with what they say. Well, there we have it. We've got them coming past the deck chairs. We're coming past the stands there. They'll be sniffing the finish at this point. They'll be getting that information from their coxswain. It's just another 3 or 4 strokes to push it through. We've done it. We're going to push it through. We're going to be here tomorrow in the Prince Albert. Nereus there ahead of the University of California. A very, very strong performance, Alex. Very good win. But it's a great feeling when you cross that line and you're in the lead.